Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another reading of Angel Fire. I like to take the opportunity to thank you for coming back and joining me for this little reading. So just to catch you up on what I got to figure out. Okay, here we go. Just to catch you up on what's been going on and what happened in chapters 5 and 6. So Natasha met the very virile, wonderful, handsome looking Reverend Joshua Jones and had a wonderful massage. Malik noticed the immediate attraction. He knew something in the pit of his soul told him that Joshua is going to be a problem for him. Meanwhile, mind you, that trifling Rashida is putting doubts in Malik's head, letting him know how pleasing to the eye Joshua is. So we're going to take off from there and we are going to begin with chapter 7. Malik unlocked the door to Natasha's apartment and held it open for her. She entered and looked around. She was glad to finally be home. Natasha was also grateful because she knew deep down in her heart that God had spared her life. She closed her eyes briefly and said a quick prayer of thanks. Malik looked at her. Tasha, baby, you all right? He asked, closing the apartment door. Yeah, thank you, Malik. I'm fine. I was just thanking God for allowing me to survive. I should be dead, really. I can't believe that I'm still alive. Hmm. Uh, would you like to lay down or something? No, no, that's all I've been doing since I've been in the hospitals laying down. What I would really like to do is go for a walk. A walk? You never wanted to do that before. I know, but I'm glad I can walk, Malik. Do you realize I came away from that accident without a scratch? Well, just this little one here on my face and a few bruises, but 3 people died. They're gone, even a child. And I'm still here in one piece. You know, um, I've decided I'm not going to waste another moment of my life. You know, there's so much I haven't done yet, so much I haven't seen. I feel like I've been given a second chance at life. Malik walked to Natasha and embraced her. Tasha, I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through. But whatever it is, I'm here for you, baby. I'm going to go through it with you. If it's a walk you want to take, then it's a walk. It shall be. Malik held Natasha's face in his hands and kissed her softly. Natasha closed her eyes and caressed his hands. It had been 3 months since she and Malik had made love. She didn't know why her sexual desire for him was diminishing. All she knew was that lately, every time she and Malik made love, she would feel guilty afterward. Natasha tried to back away from Malik, but she knew just where his hands were headed. Malik was starved for affection, craving her body. He embraced her in his arms and held her tightly. He blew his warm breath in her ear, which always thrilled her. He began tracing the outer part of her ear with the tip of his tongue. Natasha could feel her body relaxing in his arms. She inhaled deeply as she felt him lightly kissing her neck, which was a pleasure and arousing spot for her. Before Natasha knew it, she was unbuttoning his shirt and found herself kissing his chest. Malik lifted Natasha in his arms and carried her to the bedroom. He laid her down on the bed as he looked into her eyes. He could see that something was going on inside of her, but he was hoping that she wouldn't stop him from making love to her. Not this time. Natasha was about to speak, but Malik kissed her passionately to stop her words. He knew she was about to tell him to stop, but he didn't think he could. He wanted to desperately. Malik raised her shirt, but Natasha put her hands on top of his to stop him. Malik started kissing her neck again. Natasha's hands relaxed. All right now, there she goes, moving that head over to the side so he can get that neck real good. I told you she was going to give him some. Don't stop, girl. Get it, yeah, get it, Tasha, Dathan said with excitement as he watched Malik unhook Natasha's black brassiere, which unbuttoned in the front. Dathan, God understands the weakness of the flesh. You know that, Abednego said as he watched Natasha with sad eyes. No he don't, Dathan quickly responded. He even repented after making man. They make him sick to his stomach. Your own Bible says that. And Dathan cleared his throat. And the Lord regretted that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved at heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy, blot out, and wipe away mankind, whom I have created from the face of the ground. Not only man, but the beasts and the creeping things and the birds of the air. For it grieves me and makes me regretful that I made them. And that, Abednego, the angel from heaven, comes from Genesis chapter 6, verses 6 through 7. Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Your God can't stand man. And don't interrupt me, Abednego. I'm talking. And on top of that, your master don't mind killing people either. He did it all the time back in the day, and he'll do it again. Dathan just looked at Abednego just looked at Dathan. Dathan, you still don't know what you're talking about. You use passages in the Bible for your own deceitful benefit. Yes, it does say that in the Word, but verses 1 through 5 explains why he felt that way. You have to tell the whole story, Dathan. You can't just tell what suits you to your benefit. Besides, God made a covenant with Noah that he would never again destroy the world with floods. And that covenant is the rainbow, Dathan. Rainbow schmainbow. Who cares about a rainbow, Abednego? The fact of the matter is that your God can't stand man. And you know that. Woo, woo. Would you look at that? Look at her, Abednego. Look at your girl. Look at what she doing to Malik. I'm gonna get that soul. Now, what were you saying? He can't what? He can't stand man? He can't stand them then. He can't stand you people now. That's why he didn't have a problem wiping out nations if man disobeyed him. You talk about me, a demon? just quoting scripture to my benefit? Uh-uh. Dathan, that's not why God destroyed nations. Then tell me, since you know so much, would you look at that? Oh my God, that baby girl done grew up. Uh. Abednego never raised his eyes. Look, Dathan, when God took out a nation, it was because he needed to get rid of sin from the rooter to the tutor. It's the sin that turns his stomach. It's the sin he despises, Dathan, not man. How could he despise man? He created man in his own image. To despise man would mean he despises himself. Look, whatever. That still ain't got nothing to do with the innocent children he destroyed in his effort to blot out sin. Ooh-wee! Go ahead, girl. Spread them legs open. That's what I'm talking about right there. Man, she got more curves on her than Delilah. Aha! Oh, you remember her, don't you, Abednego? Abednego looked at Dathan with sharp eyes. I know you do. No wonder you were swallowed up in the earth, Dathan. You're stupid. God took the children because he didn't want them to grow up in the sins of their forefathers. He didn't just kill them like you're saying he did, Dathan. Forefathers? Heck, if it was up to him, nobody would be down here with a daddy talking about some forefathers. And that's exactly why he came down to earth in the form of Jesus. Dathan shook at the sound of the name. Stop it! Stop it! It's just something about that name. Don't say it again, Dathan demanded, shivering again. Abednego stared at him. He was paying Dathan back for the remark he had made about his relationship with Delilah. You see, Dathan, God tried to go as low as he could to understand why man misbehaves. In order to do that, he had to become human and be faced with everything common to man. That means he had to know what it was like to feel love and pain. He had to know what it was like to be despised, rebuked, and talked about. He had to know anger and fear and hunger. He had to understand a mother's sorrow and the depths of a man's heart. He had to do all of this just so he could relate. I mean, men who loved him dearly still failed him, no matter how hard they tried. Men like David, Samson, Solomon, they had his heart. They all loved him, but they were men of the flesh and they were disobedient. He had to come down to show them how it was supposed to be done. St. John 1, verse 14 says it all. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Huh? The Word? What word are you talking about, Abednego? I'm not talking about no word. I'm talking about the guy upstairs, the big guy, Dathan said, pointing towards heaven. This more joke. Dathan, the Word is the guy upstairs. St. John chapter 1, verse 1 explains that too. It's simple. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Abednego looked at Dathan. He could tell that Dathan still didn't understand. But what would he expect? He was a demon from hell. Look, those verses mean that God made himself human by putting on an earthly suit so he simply could identify with man, Dathan. That's it. Yeah. And in the course of putting on that earthly suit, look at what his man did to him. Yeah, look at what his men, his creation, did to him. They turned their backs on him. That's what they did. And they crucified him. They crucified him. Yes, they did, Dathan said, clapping his hands with excitement. Yeah, they did. And he knew that was going to happen too. It happened in order to fulfill the prophecy of the Old Testament, Dathan. If God had not done that, then the New Testament would not be in existence. He paid the ultimate price with his life. He shed his blood so people could repent for their sins at any hour. Prior to that, man could only repent once a year. But tell me this, Dathan. What happened after he was crucified? I don't know what you're talking about. What happened after he was crucified? He was crucified. That's the point. Dathan, please. He rose from the dead, went down to your house, kicked in the gates of hell, whooped up on your low-life boss's head, and took the keys. Then he unlocked the gates of hell and set the righteous free. Glory! Hallelujah! Yes, sir! God! Yeah! Abednego began flapping his wings and dancing and singing God's praises. Oh, man, stop all that mess, all that noise. Stop it! Stop it, I say. Don't nobody want to hear all that mess, all that noise. You must be one of them Baptist angels, Dathan said with a contorted face, and proud of it. Well, Mr. Proud of it, how proud of you at that? Dathan asked, pointing with a devilish grin as he watched Natasha straddle Malik. Abednego didn't say anything as he watched Natasha give into her flesh wholeheartedly. That's what I thought. Well, I guess I won this one, Dathan said, writing down Natasha's sins of the day in his notepad. That's exactly what I thought, Abednego. And you ain't got nothing to say about that. Yeah. Baby girl come to join us soon. Real soon. You're not going to get her, Dathan. We'll just see about that, Abednego. I almost had her in that car accident, but Abigail was just a little swifter than me. I made the mistake of underestimating her. I didn't understand what she was doing there, but I won't underestimate you. I want her, Dathan said with a seriousness as he watched Malik turn Natasha onto her back. You see that, Abednego? You see that right there? You see how she's enjoying what he's doing to her, stroking her? Look at the pleasure on her face while she wrapping them thick legs around his back. Look at her, Bendigo. I know you don't want to look, but you need to. Look at her. Hey, psst, psst. Yo, Bendigo, Dathan whispered devilishly. Yo, Bendigo, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? When I finally get her, Bendigo, I know you ain't going to ask what I'm going to do to her. So I'm just going to give you a clue. When I get her, I'm going to do things to her that's going to make history in hell. Now, I'm going to let your mind take it from there. You always praying. Want to pray for something? Did your prayer stop her from doing that? Bendigo closed his eyes and began to pray to God. And in his prayer, he asked God for more strength and guidance. He asked God to rebuke Dathan's words. Dathan looked at Bendigo and knew just what he was doing. He knew that God had assigned Bendigo to Natasha in order to protect her future. But what her future held, he didn't know. All Dathan knew was that he had gotten the order from Satan himself to destroy her. When Dathan flew from hell, he was shocked to see Bendigo there. He thought he was going to be fighting Abigail, if anything. Momentarily, fear struck Dathan, but it left swiftly. Bendigo was millenniums old, while Dathan was considered to be a baby in the scheme of things. His arrogance, pride, and youth made him certain he could conquer Bendigo. Besides, everyone knew that Dathan was like the Michael of hell. You can pray all you want to, Bendigo, but there's just one more thing you need to know. After I get Natasha, I'm coming for you. That's right. You hear me, Dathan? I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you because you embarrassed me the last time we fought. I was young and inexperienced then. When you whooped me, you laughed at me. And everybody else did too. I got you, Bendigo. I'm all grown up now, with many souls and battles underneath my belt. I want her, and I want you. Bendigo didn't acknowledge Dathan's words as he continued his prayer. When he finished, he opened his eyes and felt rejuvenated. He looked over at Dathan writing in his notepad. He looked down at Natasha and watched with a sad heart as Malik emptied the last bit of his nectar inside of her womb. Malik rolled off of Natasha, breathing deeply. They were both drenched with sweat. Malik reached out for Natasha and pulled her to him. He held her tightly and kissed the top of her head. Natasha caressed his chest as she felt herself drifting to sleep. Malik was about to join her in sleep when his beeper went off. Oh, man, he moaned, reaching for it on the nightstand. Malik pressed the button and saw his job's telephone number, followed by a 911 at the end. That meant there was definitely an emergency happening at the radio station. Babe. Hand me the telephone, babe. Babe. Yeah, hand me the telephone, boo. I have an emergency page from work. Natasha reached for the telephone with her eyes closed and gave it to him. She laid her head back on his chest and drifted to sleep. Malik dialed his job. He listened intently as a coworker told him they were experiencing technical difficulty. The station was off the air. Malik jumped up and went into the living room. He turned on the radio, and sure enough, dead silence. Damn! Quickly, Malik went back into the bedroom and began getting dressed. What's the matter? What's wrong? Radio station is down, baby. I gotta go. As he dressed, he instructed the technician to try several techniques, but everything failed. Malik was dressed within minutes. He hung up the telephone, told Natasha that he would call her later as he kissed her and swiftly left the apartment. Natasha was drained for their lovemaking. She was glad that she heard Malik's key locking the door. She pulled the sheet over her body. Natasha felt herself drifting to sleep again, and she welcomed it. She hadn't been asleep for long, though, before she felt that same weight creeping upon her. Immediately, she tried to raise up in the bed, but she couldn't move. She tried to open her eyes, but it seemed to her that they were glued shut. Natasha felt something covering her nose. She began gasping for breath. Her mind was wide awake, but it was as if she were in a terrible dream. She could feel her body struggling, yet she wasn't moving. She couldn't go anywhere. Suddenly, she heard herself shout, "Jesus!" The weight upon her disappeared as suddenly as it came. She leaped out of bed and began looking frantically around the room. She burst into tears. This was the same thing that attacked her when she was in the hospital. God, something's trying to kill me. Natasha looked at her bed. She looked all around the room again. She grabbed her bathrobe, left the bedroom, and went into the living room and double-checked the door. She felt for sure she heard Malik lock it. She pulled the door, and yes, it was locked. No, wait, ain't nobody in here. I'm by myself. Natasha felt panic creeping into her. Fear was gripping her. No, I'm dreaming. Natasha went around her apartment and opened every window and curtain to let the bright sun shine in. Maybe I was dreaming, she said, feeling her heart begin to slow to a normal pace. Yeah, that's it. I was just dreaming. Natasha inhaled deeply several times, then went into the bathroom. She pulled the shower curtain back and ran a cool shower. She got in, washed her body, trying desperately not to think about what just happened to her. She convinced herself that she had just had a nightmare. Natasha rinsed her body and got out of the shower. She wrapped a cranberry thick terry cloth towel around herself and went into the kitchen. She opened the refrigerator, looked inside. She grabbed a container of orange juice and poured herself a glass. Natasha leaned against the sink and looked out the window. Maybe I just need to get some fresh air, she said, finishing her juice, then placing the empty glass in the sink. Natasha walked to her bedroom and stopped just outside of the threshold. Fear began to grip her again, and she closed her eyes. This is not happening to me. I am imagining this. There is no reason I should not be able to go in my bedroom. This is ridiculous. Natasha inhaled deeply and exhaled strongly and stepped across the threshold. She stood there for a moment and she felt secure. Okay, I got this. There's nothing in here. It's all in my head. I'm safe. It's okay. Natasha went to her dresser, opened her drawer, and grabbed a pair of gray and wide spandex pants with a matching halter top. When she lifted the pants, she noticed a rolled joint laying underneath it. She wondered how it got there. She wondered if Malik had maybe put it there. No, that's not where he keeps his herb. That's not where she ever kept hers. Natasha picked it up and held it between her fingers. She started to lard it to calm her nerves, but decided against it. She put it back, thinking she would smoke it at another time. How did that get there? Natasha dressed, grabbed her keys, and left her apartment. Our final chapter coming up, chapter 8. Let me get a quick drink. This is tea and lemon, y'all. Thank you. Chapter 8. Natasha was met outside by a few people who lived in her apartment complex. She stopped momentarily to accept their well wishes. She stopped at the corner, raised her head toward the sun, and inhaled deeply. The warmth of the sun felt like a gentle caress on her face. Natasha crossed the street and began walking toward the high school track. As she walked, she looked at her surroundings. She noticed the trees budding and saw many plants in bloom. Her hearing seemed to be intensified as she listened to the birds chirping in unison, with the dogs barking in the backyards of the private homes she was passing. The music from the parked cars was crystal clear. She waved to a few of her neighborhood friends who called her over for a smoke. She watched one hold up a lit joint. Natasha waved to them, called out to a few of her friends, "Yo, Tasha, come on. You want to hit this, girl?" Norman signaled for her to come over again, but she said, "No, thank you," with a smile, waved, and picked up her pace. Natasha crossed the street and suddenly felt fear creeping back inside of her. She looked behind her, but she didn't see anything. She told herself to calm down and just keep walking. Maybe I did need to take a toke off of Norman's joint. Natasha could see the high school just a couple of blocks away. For some reason, the thought crossed her mind that she might not make it to the track. Suddenly, she heard a clicking sound behind her. Natasha turned around and saw a Rottweiler. The dog looked familiar to her. She looked at the bright yellow collar and realized she did know the dog. It was Lady. Natasha looked around for Cynthia, the owner. She found it odd that Lady would be out alone. Cynthia loved the lady as if she had birthed her. Natasha knew something was definitely wrong if Lady were not with Cynthia. Natasha stepped toward the dog. Lady stepped back. Natasha began to talk to Lady. Come here, girl. Come here. It's me. It's T. Lady, it's Tasha. Don't be afraid, baby. Come here. Lady, where's your mama? Come here, boo. Come on. Lady timidly approached Natasha and sat directly in front of her. Natasha began petting her head. She rubbed her behind the ear like she always did. Lady raised her head for Natasha to scratch underneath her chin like she always did. Lady closed her eyes and enjoyed the feeling of Natasha's fingernails scratching underneath her chin. That's a good girl. I wonder where your mama is. I cannot believe you are out here alone. Suddenly, Natasha felt a vibration in Lady's throat. She looked down at her. It's all right, Lady. Come on, honey. I'm going to take you home to your mama. Sid must be half sick wondering where you are, she said, attempting to put her hand through the collar. Natasha's eyes widened as Lady's lips rolled back, displaying her sharp teeth. Lady jerked away from Natasha and took a defensive stance. Natasha's eyes widened as Lady's lips rolled back again. She watched Lady's tongue go in and out of her mouth as though she could already taste her flesh. Oh my God, she said, grabbing her chest. Natasha told herself to remain calm. Remain calm, girl, be calm. Dogs can smell fear. You know this dog. This dog is not going to hurt you. She stood firmly and called Lady's name. Lady, she shouted in an authoritative voice, hoping to show her that she was the one in control. Lady turned her head to the side, looked at Natasha, and growled. All right now, Tasha. Don't show no fear. Just back away slowly. Slowly, girl. Don't make no sudden movements. Just move slow, she thought to herself. Natasha looked around for help, but the neighborhood had suddenly emptied. The cars that were sitting in front of the house playing music were all gone. The group of men standing on the corner talking and laughing and smoking, they were all gone too. There was no one any longer sitting on their porches. No one was there to help her. She backed away slowly. The more steps she took backward, the closer Lady came toward her growling. Natasha knew she couldn't outrun this dog, but she was gonna make the attempt anyway. It was as if Lady had read her mind, because before she knew it, Lady had leaped into the air. Natasha turned and tried to run, but she stumbled, falling to the ground. Ain't that something? Why people gotta fall all the time? Why can't folk just run and, turn and run? Oh, I digress. I got sidetracked. Okay. Instinctively, she curled her body into a tight fetal position, covered her head with her hands and arms. She closed her eyes tightly and held her breath as she waited in horror to feel Lady's powerful jaws sink into her tender flesh. Natasha knew she was about to be mauled to death. Suddenly, Natasha heard the sound of heavy metal clashing rhythmically above her head. She heard Lady bellow out a piercing howl as if she had just been struck by something. A car, maybe. Didn't I tell you to leave her alone, Dathan? You will not get her soul this day, Abednego said, blocking Dathan's sword with his own. A hellhound? A hound from hell? Is that all you could come up with, Dathan? A hellhound? You won't always be around, Abednego, Dathan said, feeling fatigue come over him. As old as Abednego was, his strength always surprised all of the demons who went up against him. Don't you worry about where I'll be. Just know I will always know where you are, Dathan. Abednego delivered a final blow to Dathan's knees that knocked him off his feet. Natasha curled her body tighter as Lady came crashing down inches beside her. Cautiously, she removed her hands from around her head and face. Natasha could feel Lady's hot, panting breath on her face. That's how close she landed. Natasha looked at the sky because the sounds of the clashing metal had come to an abrupt halt. What's going on? I know what I heard. Natasha didn't know what to do. She was paralyzed with fear. She looked at Lady, who was lying inches away from her, looking at her with fire-red eyes. Natasha recognized those eyes. Those were the same evil, piercing eyes that she saw during her accident. Slowly, Natasha moved away from Lady, inch by inch. She was afraid that any sudden movement would spark an attack. As she inched away from Lady, Natasha kept an eye on her. Lady appeared to be paralyzed. Natasha rose to her feet and looked down the street toward her apartment complex. It looked so far away. She was afraid that if Lady would regain her strength, she might be able to follow her back to her apartment. She decided to go to the high school, which was only 2 blocks away. She knew there would certainly be people there to help her. Natasha continued looking back to see if Lady was following her. She trotted briskly toward the track. Her heart almost came to a halt as she saw Lady rise, shake her head, look in her direction, and run away, whimpering. Natasha exhaled deeply and began running to the school. She spotted a police officer as she got closer to the track and immediately ran to him. She told the officer of her near-death situation, and he made notes of her account in his notepad. The officer asked Natasha if the dog happened to have on a yellow collar. She told her yes, that she knew the dog belonged to her neighbor, Cynthia Davis. He told Natasha that the owner had reported Lady missing 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Natasha thought about the length of time she had been in the hospital. It had been 3 days. The officer radioed in the report and asked Natasha if she needed to go to the hospital as he visually inspected her. She told him no, that she was all right. He offered to give her a ride home, but she declined. She needed, and most of all wanted, to be among people. She wasn't quite ready to go back inside of her apartment alone. The officer asked her which direction the dog had run. Natasha pointed over his shoulder and told him that lady had run toward their apartment. He got in his car, radioed to the dispatcher that he was in search of the missing dog. Natasha stepped back as she watched the officer put his seatbelt on and pull off. Natasha looked out onto the track at the people exercising as she walked down the stairs. When she reached the bottom, she felt drained. She thought maybe she should have taken that ride the officer offered after all. She told herself to get a grip on it, but that was easier said than done. Within a week, she had 2 threats on her life. She didn't understand what was going on. Natasha cleared her mind and began stretching. She wished she had brought her Walkman so she could listen to some music. She walked onto the track and started walking at a steady pace. Once she had walked 2 miles, she picked up her pace to a slow trot. Natasha breathed deeply through her nostrils and exhaled through her nose. She looked ahead and noticed the man running just a little faster than she. She paced herself with his stride. As she ran, her thoughts reflected back to the noise she heard. It was as if a battle were going on above her head. She closed her eyes and shook her head slightly to get rid of the thought. Natasha quickened her pace, passing the man ahead of her. She could feel her heart beating faster as she breathed deeper. For some reason, her mind drifted to Joshua. She wished she had had his number because she really wanted to speak to him. After all, he was a minister. Maybe he could help her with her problem, whatever it was. Maybe these incidents were just coincidence, and maybe not. She knew for certain she wasn't imagining any of it. She tried to remember if his number was listed anywhere on her discharge papers, but she didn't remember seeing it. She made a mental note to call the hospital once she returned home. Natasha thought about Malik as she wiped the sweat running down her face. She wished she had been strong enough to resist him. Her thoughts were interrupted when she heard a familiar voice calling her name. She took her headphones off. It was Cynthia. Tasha, come here. Are you all right, girl? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The police officer just left. Are you okay? Did lady hurt you? He said she tried to attack you. What in the world? Tasha grabbed Cynthia. She was more afraid for her than she had been for herself. Girl, it was only by the grace of God that she didn't maul me to death, Tasha said, bending over. What in the world is wrong with Lady? I've known her since she was a puppy, since the day you brought her home. I've never seen her act like this. It was like she was possessed or something. Like she was a hound from hell. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't even know how she got out of the house. Did they find her? Do they have her? Yeah, animal control just came and picked my baby up a while ago. She must have come right home after she tried to maul you. When I got the call from the police officer about what happened, they told me to keep an eye out, that she probably would be on her way home. As soon as I hung up the telephone, I saw her sitting on the back porch, looking at me through the window. That was strange. Natasha, she didn't look right in the eyes. They were like a deep, menacing red. I never seen anything like that. I was actually afraid of my baby for the first time. I convinced myself that there was no need to be afraid of her because she was my baby. I mean, I bottle fed that dog. I went outside to chain her up, but when I reached for her collar, she started growling at me. Me! Her mother! I barely made it back in the house. I called the police back and told them that she had just tried to attack me too. Cynthia said, pointing at herself. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was Lady, but it wasn't Lady. I don't know. That wasn't my baby. It couldn't have been my baby. They gonna put her to sleep? Natasha looked at Cynthia, and she could tell she was trying not to cry. Her heart went out to her. Well, if they do, it's for the best, Cynthia. I'm glad you're all right, though, T. Really. I was so afraid she would wind up hurting a child or something out there. I haven't really slept worrying about who she might hurt. I don't know how she got out of the house. Half the time I can't even walk. I'm tripping all the time because she's always under my feet. Yeah, I know. That's why I found it strange when I saw her alone. She let me pet her for a few minutes, but when I reached for that collar, she snapped like a twig. I'm sorry, Cynthia. I know that's your baby, but it might be for the best. Maybe she's changed. Something changed her. Yeah, I know. Well, look, while I'm out here and while there are still people here, I want to finish getting my run in. I'm going to give you a call when I get back to the house and check on you, okay? You want to come run with me? Run? Girl, bye. Ain't nobody trying to run out here in all this heat around this track. Natasha chuckled. Besides, Luke likes me thick. It seems like the bigger I get, the happier he is. I hear that. Oh, listen, did you get the card I sent you? I'm sorry about not coming to see you in the hospital, but I'm sure you can understand. I couldn't leave the house with Lady roaming about missing. Girl, I understand. Don't even worry about it. I haven't checked my mailbox yet, but I will. Well, let me get a couple more laps in before these folks start leaving. I don't want to be out here by myself. I love you, and I'll talk to you later. You make sure you don't stay out here too long, T. You just got out the hospital. Don't be trying to run a marathon. I won't. Okay, I'm glad you're okay, Tasha. I'm so sorry. Girl, there's nothing for you to be sorry for. I know you are a responsible animal owner. I'll see you later, Cynthia. See you, T. Natasha watched Cynthia walk away as she started running again. Though she felt sorry for her, she was grateful that Lady was being put to sleep. Natasha ran 2 more miles briskly and exited the track as she saw others leaving. She didn't want to be out there left alone. She looked for a stick just in case she encountered another stray dog. She spotted one lying in the grass, picked it up, and cupped it tightly in her hand. When Natasha crossed the street, she heard a car's horn blowing. She turned around and saw a cream-colored Lexus with gold trim following slowly behind her. Tasha, what in the world are you doing? You're supposed to be resting, Tracy fussed as she shouted out of the car window. Natasha, are you crazy? Girl, you just got out of the hospital. Get in the car, Keisha ordered. Get in the car. Rashida, slow up. Keisha said, hitting the back of Rashida's headrest. Keisha, you done lost your damn mind. Rashida looked at Natasha as she drove slowly, casually looking in her rearview mirror for traffic and snickered. The all-American girl. She make me sick, she said to herself. Keisha, I tell you what, you hit the back of this headrest again. I'm gonna know something. Slow down. Let her in the car. She ain't got to get in here. Let her tail run on home. She said bye. Look, when her behind pass out in the street from all this heat, she'll know better next time. Besides, she all wet and sweaty. Look at her. I don't want all her sweat on my brand new leather seats. Sure. Both Tracy and Keisha called Rashida's name with scorn. They couldn't believe what she had just said. However, Natasha could. You witch, Natasha said to herself. She's right, y'all. She's right, Natasha said, keeping a slow trot. That's a nice ride, Rashida. Congratulations. Yeah, girl. Thanks. I picked it up this morning. She is pretty though, ain't she? Yeah, she is. You witch. We cooked for you, T. Tracy called past Rashida. I wish you stopped yelling in my ear. Rashida protested. Y'all gone. I'll be down to the house in a minute. I'm right behind you, Natasha said, eyeing Rashida. Natasha watched the shiny new car as it pulled ahead of her. She replayed the tone of Rashida's words as she jogged home. She knew Rashida meant everything she just said. Natasha noticed that Rashida had been very short with her since New Year's. It was as if Natasha's very presence annoyed her. Natasha had made several attempts within the past 6 or 7 months to ask her if something was wrong because she would snap at her for the littlest of things. Rashida always put it off on something else and apologized or said she didn't know what T was talking about. Natasha knew her apologies, however, were not sincere, and she knew that she did know what she was talking about. She told herself to forget about it and ignore Rashida, because there was certainly no love lost there. Besides, she had bigger things to be thinking about, occupying her mind. Was that a war she heard going on over her head? Was there really a battle happening? Rashida reached the apartment complex and went to her mailbox. Natasha reached the apartment complex and went to her mailbox. She looked up and saw them walking in her direction carrying pots of food and a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. She chuckled to herself because none of them could fry chicken. She knew if every chicken factory had gone out of business, they would be in a world of hurt. Natasha retrieved her mail and cupped it to her breast. She took the stairs 2 at a time as they followed behind her. Just as she opened the door, she heard Malik leaving a message on her answering machine. Natasha tossed the mail onto the sofa and dashed for the telephone. Malik, baby. Tasha, girl, you had me worried. What are you doing outside? I left you in the bed asleep. I know, she said as she watched her girlfriends come in the house and close the door behind them. I just needed to get out of this house. I just needed to get some air. Outside is fine, Tasha, but you went to the track. Baby, you just got out of the hospital. You shouldn't be overdoing it by jogging. And besides, I thought you said you wanted to go for a walk. How did walk go to a jog? Are you all right? I just saw Luke. He told me Lady tried to attack you, Malik said with great concern. Yeah, she did. Man, I don't know what happened. I was rubbing her 1 second, looking around for Cynthia, and then the next thing I knew, she was leaping for me. I tried to run, I fell. Baby, I just knew she was about to eat me alive. Then all of a sudden, she fell, she howled like something hit her, and, she landed right beside me. I got up and ran to the track. Tasha ran to the track. Why didn't you run your tail home? Because I was afraid I wouldn't make it. If she got up and there wasn't nobody around to help me. Besides, all of the police officers always jogging up there at the track. I just figured somebody would be there to shoot her at least if she came in there. So Malik inhaled deeply. Are you sure you all right, T? I am, baby. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Did you get the station back up? Oh, man. Yeah, yeah. You ain't even gonna believe this mess. The motherboard was unplugged. The cleaning crew must have done it accidentally. The motherboard was unplugged, Malik. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not. Natasha laughed. Malik, that don't even make no sense. I wish I was kidding, he said, laughing. Who's that? Your crew? Your girls over there? Oh, yeah, they pulled up as I was on my way home. They bought some dinner. Care to join us? Are you crazy? Girl, those are the 3 non-cookingest women I have ever seen in my life. If they cook some meat, you better make sure it's cooked through to the bone, Tasha. Natasha burst into laughter. You laughing, but I'm serious. I know, baby. I know. Are you sure you don't want to join us? Don't make me do this by myself. Girl, nah, you on your own with that. I love you, but, You want me to bring you something later on? He asked, chuckling. Yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah, why don't you do that? That might be good. Tasha, yeah, boo. Thank you for this morning. I really appreciate what you did. Malik, wait, no, just let me finish. Let me finish. I know you're struggling with something. I don't know what it is exactly. He lied. But I just want you to know that I'm going to try and be as patient and as understanding as I can be. I want you to want me just as much as I desire you. I don't want you any other way. I love you, Tasha. Girl, as good as you may love me this morning, I think I can last for a little while. Natasha chuckled. Well, I'll leave you to your feast and your friends. I'll be over around 9 or 10. You mind if I spend the night? Natasha wanted to say no, that he couldn't spend the night. But she was afraid to be alone, so she consented. I don't mind at all, Malik. All right then, I'll see you later. And I'm going to bring you something to eat. Thank you, baby. See you then. Natasha hung up the telephone, turned around, and saw Rashida standing behind her. She knew Rashida had listened to her entire conversation. Did you hear enough? Rashida looked at her with surprise. It was unlike Natasha to respond to anyone with an attitude. It caught her completely off guard. The next time I'm having a conversation, please make yourself known. It's disrespectful to listen to other people's conversation. Or maybe you don't know anything about respect. Is there something you wanted? Keisha and Tracy came out of the kitchen and entered into the living room. They could feel the tension build in the air. Nah, I just came in here to tell you that dinner was ready, Rashida stuttered. All right, thank you. Y'all go on and start eating. I'm going to take a shower. I'll be in there in a minute. Natasha said, looking Rashida in the eye. Natasha was tired of her. For some reason, she wanted to tell her to get out of her house. Instead, she excused herself, went into the bathroom, and slammed the door behind her. "What in the world did you say to her?" Tracy asked. "Me? I didn't do anything." She turned around, looked at me, and got an attitude. I ain't say nothing to her. Maybe she got a bump on her head or something in that accident. I don't know. "Rashida, let me tell you something. You better leave Natasha alone," Tracy warned her as she sat down on the dark blue leather sofa, gathered the mail, and laid it on the brass and glass coffee table in a neat stack. "You've been messing with Natasha since the day we met in college. Just how much longer do you think she's going to tolerate the way you treat and talk to her? You ain't never been kind to her." Tracy crossed her legs and looked at Rashida. She was offended by the way she always treated Natasha. Over the years, Tracy grew to love Natasha like a sister. In fact, they often went places together and never told Keisha or Rashida. Tracy realized that she was more comfortable with Natasha than she was with her childhood girlfriends. She really felt bad about not going to the hospital to be at Natasha's side. It was only because of Rashida that she didn't go, and she vowed to herself that night that that would never happen again. Besides, she was a grown woman, capable of making her own decisions. Tracy had always allowed Rashida to dictate to her because she had a domineering personality. Rashida's problem with Natasha was that she could not dictate to her. If Natasha said no, she meant it and held her ground. Tracy, on the other hand, didn't like to see anyone unhappy, nor did she like confrontation. Therefore, she was always willing to compromise herself to make sure that everyone was satisfied. "Why are you always taking up for her?" Rashida snapped. "I'm not taking up for her, Rashida. I'm telling you to leave her alone. Natasha ain't never done nothing to you to deserve the way you treat her. Look at you, Rashida. How in the world could you form your lips to tell her she can't get in your new car just because she's sweating? That was foul in every sense of the word." Rashida sucked her teeth. "Oh, please, I was only playing." "Girl, bye." "No, you weren't. You weren't playing. You meant every word you said. If the shoe were on the other foot, that thought would have never crossed Natasha's mind. You make me sick always thinking about yourself. All you've ever done since we were children is think about you and more you. I'm sick of you," Tracy said, looking at her with distaste. "Oh, no, she ain't Breaking Bad after all these years. Who would have ever thought she had it in her?" Keisha said to herself as she sat down in the reclining chair. "Oh, she done grew up." "All right now, ladies. All right now, chill out. We came over here to help Tasha, not fight amongst ourselves." "I ain't fighting with her, Keisha. Miss Mount Almighty has turned cold. Listen to her. Who the hell you think you talking to, Tracy?" "I ain't turning cold, Rashida, and I'm talking to you. I know how long we've been friends, but I'm Tasha's friend too. I love her and I love you too. And I'm tired of the way you intentionally mistreat her. I'm 25 years old. I'm a grown behind woman who listens to every word you say. Do this, do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Go here. Don't go there. Be that one's friend. Don't be that one's friend. You've been telling me what to do ever since I can remember. And all that's my fault because I allowed you to do it. The only reason you treat Natasha the way you do is because you can't boss her around. Unlike me, she's not stupid enough to let you do it. And for the record, let me tell you something. Right here, right now, in this very space, it's over. Your dictating days to me is over. Rashida inhaled and looked at Tracy, not knowing who was sitting before her. What in the world is going on with this chick? That was the reason that she began to understand. She thought she had heard before people telling her that Natasha and Tracy were seen out. Maybe their information was right. Keisha looked at Rashida looking at Tracy. That was the reason at first. Her thinking she could tell Tasha what to do. It turned from her not liking her with that, to her wanting her man. Keisha said to herself, now hush all that talk. Y'all stop all that arguing. She just cut off the shower. She gonna hear you. Don't nobody care about her hearing what we got to say, Keisha. Don't nobody care. Telling me to hush. You don't be telling me what to do. Hush. Rashida, sit your behind down and shut up, Keisha said, reaching inside of her pocketbook and withdrawing a black suede pouch. Gracious, I forgot my rolling papers. Anyone of y'all got any papers? Both Tracy and Rashida shook their heads no. T! Keisha called out. Yeah. You got any rolling papers? Yeah, I think Malik got some in here, in the drawer here on the side of the bed. Y'all come on back here. I'm almost dressed. Tracy got up and went to Natasha's bedroom while Keisha and Rashida lingered behind. Can you believe her? Can you believe what she just said to me? Look, Rashida, you know Tracy loves Natasha like a sister. And I love her too, just for the record. Now, we've all been friends for a long time, and she ain't been friends as long as us. We, the three of us, we the ones friends. We've been friends from the womb friends. She ain't coming to our lives until we got into college. She ain't down with us. What are you talking about? You love her. You love her more than me? Rashida, like I said, Natasha loves her like a sister, and I do too. Regardless, Tracy is a good person, and you know she's been there for each of us through and through, and you know it. We haven't been nearly as good of a friend to her as she has been to us, and you know that too. That was beat up, you not letting her in your car, Ra. You can suck your teeth all you want, roll your eyes and cross your arms. But you were wrong, and you know it. Come on, let's go in the back. Let's go on back here and hit this joint. Come on, Keisha said, grabbing Rashida by the elbow. Get off of me. I can walk. I know where the room is. Just get on. Go on. Oh, excuse my room, ladies. I know it's a mess. Wait a minute, Keisha. Let me pull the covers up before you sit down on my bed, Natasha said, straightening the cover on the bed. Rashida looked at the bed and knew immediately from the way the sheets were that she and Malik had made love. She could tell by the way the sheets were tossed. You and old boy couldn't wait, huh? Tracy said, helping her make the bed. Girl, Natasha moaned with a smile. She looked up just in time to see the way Rashida was looking at her bed. When their eyes locked, everything became crystal clear and affirmative. Well, if she didn't know before that Rob wanted her man, she sure know now, Keisha said to herself. Rashida looked away and sat down on the black and gold trunk at the foot of the bed, pretending to be occupied with her fingernails. Natasha stared at her back. She could not believe that Rashida really wanted her man. But the truth was unshakable. She had stared the truth in the eye. Now everything really made sense to her. The unkind way she treated her, it was all because she was jealous. The sly remarks she would make about Malik's looks. Natasha never paid it any attention before, but everything she had ever said pertaining to Malik came flooding back to her remembrance. And if it had been said as if it had just been said moments ago, Natasha shook her head. She wondered why Rashida was in her house, even in her bedroom. How dare she be intentionally cruel to her because Malik had chosen to be with her? How dare she pretend to be happy for them when all the time she was obviously sorry that they had ever met? Excuse me. Tasha, sis, can you give me them papers? I swear I really need a joint right about now. Tasha? Natasha finally took her glare off of Rashida's back. Yeah, I got some. As a matter of fact, if you open the second drawer, there are some papers and a joint already rolled. I guess my man left it there for me, she said, putting great emphasis on my man. Rashida closed her eyes tightly as she continued picking at her manicured fingernails. Keisha opened the drawer and immediately saw the joint and papers. She picked up the joint and looked at it. Y'all, this Malik's. I swear he rolled so big. Would you look at this joint? Shucks, I can get like 4 or 5 joints out of this mojoker. Tracy burst into laughter. She was grateful for Keisha's excellent timing. The tension in the room was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Well, it's true. Would you look at this? It's a waste. Open it and re-roll it, Keisha. While Keisha took the joint apart, Natasha and Tracy finished making the bed and laid on it. The telephone rang. Natasha asked Tracy to answer it because she was closer. Hello? Tracy? Oh, hey, Mrs. Berry. How are you? I'm fine, baby, and you? I'm good, thanks, Mrs. Berry. That's good, baby. Is my daughter there? Yes, ma'am. Here she is. Hold on. Tracy passed Natasha the telephone and laid her head on Natasha's full behind as if it were a pillow. Rashida looked at her and knew that Tracy really did love Natasha. She also knew that she and Tracy would never experience a bond like she and Natasha shared. Rashida looked at them and noticed that they looked more and more alike. She wondered if it were because they had spent so much time together, even more time than they realized Rashida knew. Here, girl, Keisha said, passing Rashida a joint and the lighter. Light that sucker up. Hey, Ma, how are you doing? I should be asking that question of you. How you feeling? I'm fine, Ma. I never felt better, really. Oh, really? I don't know about all that because I sure felt like something was wrong with you earlier today, girl. You're kidding. What time was that, Ma? Around 2. I remember because the Bold and the Beautiful was just going off. As I put the sweet potato pies in the oven, I got this overwhelming feeling about you. I just started praying that whatever it was, that God would see you through. I had that same feeling when you were in that car accident. I'm so glad I was in church when I felt it because I told one person and that person told the next person, and the next thing I knew, everybody in church was lifting up your name in prayer. Girl, you got folks standing in the gap for you and you don't even know it. The whole church went into prayer. Now, what's wrong? I know something happened. You better talk to me, Tasha. Natasha inhaled deeply. I was almost mauled to death by a Rottweiler this afternoon, Mama. Natasha's mother and everyone in her bedroom screamed with disbelief. I'm fine, Ma. Really, I am, Natasha said, caressing Tracy's arm. I'm fine, y'all. I am, she said to Keisha and Rashida. Baby, what in the world happened? Natasha went into great detail as she told her mother and girls what happened. Keisha listened intently as she pulled heavily on the joint and held it inside her lungs. She felt as if she were listening to a story. She wondered why so many bad things were starting to happen to Natasha. Here was a person who didn't bother nobody. Natasha would help a stranger from the kindness of her heart. She had seen her give a homeless person the coat off of her back. Keisha thought about all the people in the world intentionally harming others, and nothing seemed to ever happen to them. She wondered why nothing ever bad happened to them. Keisha exhaled and pulled on the joint again before passing it to Rashida. Natasha, baby, the Lord was with you again, girl. I know it, Ma. Rashida passed the joint to Tracy, but she declined. Rashida offered it to her again. Girl, take this joint. But she declined again. Rashida looked at Tracy and wondered what in the world was going on with her. Shoot, give it to me, Rashida. They don't want none, Keisha whispered with her outstretched hand. Give it to me. Rashida gave Keisha the joint and looked at Natasha and Tracy. For the first time, Rashida realized that their honey-toned complexion was almost identical. She looked at their hands and noticed that their fingers were shaped alike. She wondered if they even noticed how much they actually looked alike. They were almost the same height and weight. They were built the same, except Natasha was fuller than Tracy. Yes, they did look alike. As a matter of fact, most people meeting them for the first time always asked if they were sisters. They even had the same taste in music and clothes. Rashida knew that Tracy preferred jazz, which is what Natasha always listened to from day one. The only time either of them listened to rap or rhythm and blues was when they were with her or at the club. Natasha finished her conversation with her mother and passed Tracy the telephone to hang up. Thanks, Trace. Tasha, why didn't you tell us what happened? Keisha asked. You didn't say a word. I was getting ready to tell you. That's why I told y'all to come on in the bedroom. Does Malik know? Tracy asked. Yeah, you know Luke told him when he went to work. That's what we were talking about when he called her earlier. Girl, you better be careful, T. I mean, here lately, things haven't been going your way. If you didn't have bad luck, Tasha, you wouldn't have any at all. You sure you don't want to hit this? Keisha asked, lighting another joint. Nah, you go ahead. How many joints did you get out of that anyway? 5. 5? What'd I say? Natasha repeated with surprise. Yeah, look, Keisha said, holding the joints up. My goodness. Well, save Malik a couple. He's coming over tonight. He might want to smoke. No problem. Keisha tossed 3 joints, 3 of the healthier joints to Natasha one at a time. Natasha caught them and laid them on the nightstand. You stopped smoking weed? I haven't seen you smoke a joint in quite some time, T. I don't know, Keisha, I guess. I just don't have the desire to get high anymore. I don't know what it is, Natasha said, hunching her shoulders. I hear you. Well, I, for one, commend and thank you. Thank me? Thank me for what? Because that leaves more for me. Me and Tracy. I thank you. Tracy laughed. Girl, you don't have a bit of sense, Natasha said, laughing at Keisha. So, what's your reason for not getting high anymore, Tracy? Keisha looked at Rashida and shook her head. It was times like these when Rashida made Keisha sick to her stomach. She knew that Rashida was putting Tracy on the spot just to embarrass her. Keisha assumed that Tracy had stopped smoking because she was following behind Natasha. Keisha realized a long time ago that Natasha really was a good influence on Tracy because she was easily led. That's why over the years, Keisha kept a careful eye on Tracy. She knew when they were younger, if someone told her the sky was purple, and though Tracy could be looking at the blue sky, one could almost see the sky turn purple right in her very eyes. No, Tracy meeting Natasha was the best thing that could have ever happened to her. It was as if Natasha were the older sister guiding the younger sister along with patience and love. Who cares why she stopped smoking, Keisha said, hunching her shoulders. If she don't want to smoke no more, she don't have to smoke. What's the big deal? Besides, Tracy's hardly smoked all year, or haven't you noticed? Here, she said, passing the joint to Rashida. Rashida took the joint and pulled hard as she stared at Tracy. I'm not making a big deal, Keisha. All I did is ask a question. Is something wrong with that? What? I can't ask a question no more? I can't talk to her no more? I mean, what? What's up with that? Rashida said with irritation. Rashida, you know I've never really been a big smoker anyway. I just don't want to get high anymore, that's all. I bet if Natasha would hit it, so would you. I don't think so, Rashida. I said no thank you before you even offered it to T. Look, just leave me alone. You really need to leave me alone, Tracy said, waving her away. Y'all make me sick, Natasha said, looking at Tracy and Rashida said, looking at Tracy and Natasha lying on one another. Keisha looked at them and laughed. To her, they appeared to be joined at the hip. Natasha ignored Rashida's comment, but she looked at Keisha and laughed. Keisha, you just as high as you want to be, Natasha said, laughing at her. Girl, you ain't never lied. Malik always got to kill weed. Where he get his stuff from? I don't know, girl. Gracious, I'm starting to get hungry. What y'all cook? Cook? Keisha said with surprise. Girl, ain't nobody had time to cook. Shoot, the Colonel made the chicken, the corn on the cob, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, the coleslaw, and the baked beans, macaroni and cheese, and the biscuits. Oh, Miss Field made the apple pie, and Haagen-Dazs made that vanilla chocolate ice cream, Keisha said, laughing hysterically. Whoa, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that y'all went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, bought a meal, took it home, and put it in your own pots? Natasha said with disbelief. Yes! Keisha screamed with laughter. I didn't have a pot deep enough to put the chicken in. That's why it's still in the box. Natasha was laughing so hard, she thought she had got the contact from the aroma of the weed in the room. She could not believe the drama they had gone through. Everyone wiped at their eyes as the tears of laughter rolled down their cheeks. Well, at least it looked like you cooked. Girl, what you talking about? Shoot, that was hard work bending down underneath that sink and looking for those pots. I had to wash and dry them before I put the food in them. Then I had to get a spoon and empty all of it into the pots. Shoot, it felt every bit like cooking to me. Tasha, you should have seen her. She even put on an apron, girl. That girl is crazy as all get out, Tracy says, shaking her head. Well, I just want you to know that I really appreciate all your effort, Keisha. Come on, y'all. Let's see. And so that is the conclusion of chapter 7 and 8 of Angel Fire. And not quite sure what day I'm coming back. I will send you all out an announcement. Maybe Saturday at 7 o'clock. Maybe. Yeah, what you think? If you like, I would appreciate it if you would go to my website, www.nubianromance.com, and order a hard copy for yourself. There are 4 of the books there. I want to thank you so much for tuning in and staying with me. I'd like for you to follow me if you are not following me already. And please share the video with your friends so that they can go all around. I mean, what else are we going to do? Again, thank you so much. I'll send out a notice when we're having our next live read, and that will be on chapters 9 and 10. Thank you so much. Peace.